that we have, we're going to focus on this year. I have people who have said to me, what if they don't want to do that? What if they don't want to do that? Well, then we will also offer a gen ed track. It's not up here, but for the most part, we're going to encourage our students about teaching them or sharing with them about the labor market growth. We didn't just pick these to pick these. As Teresa shared with you earlier, these are the programs that show the most growth in our communities. So that is why we strategically picked these 4 communities. They'll come in, declare a major. We have been contextualizing all of our curriculum. So our students, once they declare a major, they will go into one of these 3 career pathway tracks, learn GED and ESL through the lens of healthcare, business, and technology, or in industry, career and technical. They will learn that over the first 8 weeks. They will all have, well, I say all, many of our students, the higher level ESL and all GED students will have Blackboard. During this time, we will be teaching them how to acclimate them to Blackboard. They will take tests in Blackboard. They will have projects to do in Blackboard throughout the coursework, so that once they actually enroll into the college the following 8 weeks, nothing will be a surprise to them. They will already have been exposed to information and hopefully be ready to go within those career tracks. Now, the thing, I feel like our students have an advantage over many other students. You have a student who's coming in from high school, they pick one of these career fields, they've never been exposed to medical terminology per se, they've never been exposed to how to measure voltage or wattage or whatever, things like that. Our students, during their first 8 weeks, will have been exposed to this type of information. So I believe our students will have, again, an advantage over some students who are just coming into the college. So I think that's something to be excited about. Our students, if you know, many students cannot apply for, you can apply for financial aid, you just won't be granted financial aid until you have completed a GED or a high school diploma. So we have some things that we're going to come in to help us pay for our students, to fund our students through this project. Adult education, we are funded and we can actually pay for students' coursework. So the very first week, week 9 of our students coming in, they're going to start their career pathway. We're going to pay for their first course. We'll pay for the second course as well. So what happens when a student has successfully completed 2 semester credit hours here at Amarillo College? Does anyone know? Has anyone ever heard of ability to benefit? 6 credit hours. I thought I said 2 total of 6 hours of semester credit hours. Does anyone know what happens? Were you saying it, Jaime? I thought you were saying it. I thought you were nodding like
yeah. I know it is.
Okay, so we have this program called Ability to Benefit, and you'll see it. The acronym is ATB. If a student comes in and takes 6 semester credit hours of coursework and they pass them successfully, they will then be available for a different type of financial aid. And it used to be a reduced form of financial aid, and we just found out recently that it's full Pell. But you can only receive it after you've taken either 6 semester credit hours and passed with a C or greater, or you take an Accuplacer test. We decided not to go the Accuplacer route. I don't even think Amarillo College offers Accuplacer, but we've decided not to go that route. We've decided to pay and fund our students through their first 2 courses, and here are some different ways that we're going to be funding our students. So adult education can pay for that coursework. Accelerate Texas, which is a new grant that we've applied for and we now have. It has funding to pay for those semester credit hours for our students. Ability to Benefit, Texas, our Workforce Solutions Board, we're partnering together. They're going to be paying for some of that coursework. Then we have Perkins and TPEG. If you look in your packet, I have given you definitions on what TPEG and Perkins is. So you can look through there if you want to familiarize yourself with what those funding sources are. And so this is what 16 weeks or 12 weeks will look like for our students. I said Teresa. Catherine and Ryan are actually going to be the leads on this. Our career pathways or our career navigator team will be the leads on this part of our program. So on week 0, here we have our students. We have to get them into SIMS, which is our Student Information Management System. If we don't get them in there, we've kind of already dropped the ball and failed. So that is going to be something that this year we are focusing on heavily, making sure that we can track our students. So Eva and Keegan will be the leads on that piece for us. They'll declare their major, and then they'll go into their contextualized curriculum after that. Once they do that, we're going to enroll our students into their either one 3-hour course or 2 6-hour courses. They won't start that until the following 8 weeks, but some of our students will be ready to go into both courses. And that'll be based on the instructor and their relationship that they have with the students. You're going to know your rock stars, you're going to know your superstars, you know them better than anyone else, so you'll have to communicate that information with our career navigation team. You're going to know your student, and I recommend that you push your student and let them be all that they can be. If they believe they can do it, believe in them as well, because again, we'll have some different systems that will be in place to support our students as they're going through that coursework. Week 4, we'll be meeting with the Director of Financial Aid to get her to start tracking our students for ability to benefit, because it has to go through her. She has to approve it. She has to track to make sure that our students have completed the 6 hours of coursework successfully. Once she does that, then she will be the one who will release the funds to our students to complete either a level 1 certificate or continuing education coursework. She'll release that money for our students. Week 9, students will begin that level 1 certification. Our career pathway, our career navigators will do a lot of holistic, very intrusive advising, and it's just because we don't want to just enroll our students into those level 1 certificates. We want our students to be successful while they're in those level 1 certifications. So they'll be doing a lot of grade checks, checking up on students, making sure students are going to class. One of the things that we've kind of been talking about or are talking about are what is the criteria for our students to move into the disability to benefit track. One of the #1 criteria that we're going to be looking at is 80% attendance. If you're not attending your GED and ESL class, you're not going to attend your academic coursework. You're just not. So if our students are not attending the coursework, we'll be visiting with them to see if this program is the right program for them. Attendance is going to be a huge thing this year. We've kind of played around with it and say we had our attendance equals success policy. Sometimes we, hold our students' feet to the fire. Sometimes we don't. We let them come and go as they please. But this year is going to be a big thing that we're going to be tracking and watching that, because that's really going to be it's going to probably be the heaviest weighted piece on our students moving forward. We have other checkpoints in place as far as grade, midterms, and finals. But that attendance piece is probably going to be, the highest. We're going to focus the most on that. And I mean, it makes sense, right? I don't have to keep talking about that. It makes sense on why we would be looking at that. Week 12, the money will be released for our students to go into the actual, finish out the certificate program, and our career navigators will actually load the classes. So I'm going to give the career navigators a little bit of time. We want them to talk about, they've been learning what career navigation is. It's a lot of weight to put on 3 people. So they've learned that career navigation is bigger than a team of 3. It's much bigger than that, and I want them to come and share the things that they've learned about how they're going to be utilizing your skills to help them.
So I know you've heard a lot today. There's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of changes. But kind of what's on my mind as well, first of all, let me let you know what a career navigator is. We've been to a lot of trainings. There's always definitions everywhere, but this is kind of how I've conceptualized it. Career navigator, you have to wear different hats. Well, we need a whole hat closet, right? We're the counselor, we're the advisor, we're the career counselor, we're the liaison, we're the advocate. We are all those pieces that you as instructors don't really get time to do with the students. I mean, a lot of you are part-time, and to have that extra time to work with students on making all this happen, right? We're talking about matriculating students into the college. That's registration. That's figuring out funding sources. That's figuring out support services. So that's really where we come in as career navigators, to wear all those hats, to be that cheerleader for the student, right? We've heard the word cheerleader a lot and support a lot. So that's really where we come in to help to make all of this happen. We know that the population our students come from, they need all of that support. And we're putting more on them now because our expectations have expanded. It's no longer the same. And with good reason. And that's something that we kind of communicate with the student is, GED now, that doesn't get you where it used to, right? And we all kind of understand that. And so we're encouraging them to continue on, and we're providing all the support services that they need to continue on. So we're that connector piece. So from an administrative standpoint, that also means we're kind of helping to keep the program alive, is how I kind of process it, because we need to get the students moving, right? To not just stop halfway through the class. So in terms of providing support, that also just includes during the GED program, but also moving forward into their IETs, into the academic courses. So Catherine's going to share a little more about how that works in the teacher side.
Okay, so we went to a training in probably the beginning of June, into June, and they really explained it as a career navigator is everyone that works in our department, from us to y'all as instructors, our people answering our phones. That includes y'all. You all have to be a career navigator. So whether that means just having a conversation about what the student wants to do starting out by answering the phone, hey, how are you? What do you want to do? What are some of your goals? Finding out with the student which direction they should go. As an instructor, Ryan and I have a few things that we need your help with, and one of those, yes, attendance. Why? Why is that student not showing up? Is it a barrier? Is there something that's happening at home that they can't control, but we might be able to help control? So as we've done our stuff and getting it in order for the year, we came up with a resource list that all of you will have at the beginning of the year. That includes just some extra help that can help the student. We'll also be having to have conversations with all of you as an instructor about, like Michelle said, who's your rock star? What makes them your rock star? What do we need to do to help them be more successful moving forward? Really just having that communication with both of us. We're usually both in our office every day. Emails, always feel free to communicate with us, call us. And we will be stepping into the classroom a few times in the first few weeks just to have conversations with those students about getting them excited to going into college classes and that they're not as scary as everyone might think.
Just to add to that, communication with you all is going to be a big part.
Communication is huge.
We'll be sure in the orientation process to kind of distribute our numbers in our office and all of that, but make sure letting students know and letting you all know as well to direct the students towards us, and that we are there for that sole purpose to help them with whatever that is. So, yeah, any questions? I know that one that may come up is rural sites, but.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Like, are you going to be at some of the different, campuses and stuff instead of just like this one?
That's a really good.
So Ryan has agreed to, for the fall, to house 2 days out at East. We're going to work on the same thing for Catherine to house 2 days out at West. And then when we complete the hiring process for the senior career navigator, they will be here on the Washington Street campus. Now, we may have them rotating just so that they can get a good feel for all of them, and then they end up ultimately deciding where they feel like they fit best. But right now, it'll be twice a week that each of them will house Ryan East, Catherine West, and then the senior career navigator will be over here for the first fall, for fall.
What about 24th and Grand?
Oh, for community
That's
link.
where I am.
So, if I'm not mistaken, I don't like, it's our first level of coursework, right? It's not our higher level, correct?
Right.
So, I'm not saying that we're not going to be proactively pursuing them, but I'm just saying that we're gonna be focusing on the higher level, the ones that are actually gonna be going into, correct. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't go out and, you know, say hello and meet them and things like that, but the ones that we will be actively pursuing will be the higher level, and the ones that we know are absolutely going into the college the following 8 weeks.
A student at any point never feel discouraged to have to reach out to us. And likewise, us reach out to them.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask, but what are we doing with returning students? Like, since a lot of this is taking place during orientation, do they come back during orientation and do it again, pick a career, and then we encourage them to pass in? Or?
Yeah, so great question, Nicole. We're going to get into that specifically for our orientation training, but here's the thing. It is brand new to everybody, right? I'm sure some of our students who we had during the summer are aware, perhaps, I would hope so, of y'all saying, hey, FYI, coming August is going to be dramatically different. So just so that things aren't lost in translation of, oh, I heard this and Susie heard that or whatever, everyone is going to come back and go through the orientation process again to get this information straight from the horse's mouth, right? I mean, let's not have rumors and all sort of that. Everyone go through that same process and then go to their respective locations based on the communities that they choose. Okay?
And I know that we're being, like, not selective, but, like, especially with attendance, we talked a lot about, I had a lot of students who had some issues with attendance this summer. Are those students kind of been given a clean slate, we can start over, this is a big deal, or are we kind of?
No, I mean, what has happened in the past, bygones are bygones, you know? I'm looking at it come August, everyone, hey, nice seeing you, I don't know you. You know what I mean? What you've done in the past, okay, I don't care. You know what I mean? We're starting fresh, it's a new program year. Now, if you're having attendance issues this program year, we're gonna revisit, and we're gonna talk, and we're gonna say, you know what, I get it. Sometimes life happens, you know what I mean? When the situations that are occurring, right, calm down a little bit, come back and see us. We'll be glad to have you, absolutely. But until then, we think it'd be best for you to step out. Okay? Any other questions?
We'll be getting the locations to the other providers, so people who are coming here and they're not interested in a career as an ESL student, we'll have our partners within the community that we can refer them out to. Also, the same thing with HSC students who are not interested in a career. We'll have those partners' information ready to disseminate to our students as well. So even if that happens, so that piece, but if you have a student who's something's going on, they're not clicking, and for whatever reason they're not showing up and their attendance is a big issue, then, and you know, even though we're going to tell them, hey, this is probably not the right time for you, but here's another program that you could absolutely go to until you decide what's a better fit for you.
Anything else you want us to touch on?
No, I think that was it.
I have one thing though. So Ryan, real quick, Ryan had mentioned barriers, right?
I think she did.
You're right. And so when Catherine and Ryan first started, I said, let me sum up y'all's job in like a handful of words. You're a barrier remover. Actually, 2 words.
Hyphenated.
Yes. Okay. So really, that's all they are. I mean, not that's all they are. That's what they are.
That's a
Bloodhounds.
big deal.
If there's something we don't, and you're all familiar with this as teachers, if you don't know something, you need to know it for the student, you chase it down. So,
Right.
I mean, you can kind of outsource that to us, and we'll
Yes.
figure it out. There's lots of things I do not know, right? And I'm fully aware of that. And I know that Jessica, she was a phenomenal career navigator. and it took her time to learn a lot of these things. And it's one of these things that you learn from experience. If a student has a really specialized need, I'm going to learn about that largely for the first time when I'm addressing that need. But that's what we're there for. So I kind of recognize that too as barrier remover, and we're constantly learning what we can do to help students. Once we know it, we know it. Really
Yeah,
important.
so bear with us. We're kind of both in the learning process also.
They're filling their toolbox with tools.
Yeah.
So every time you send them a student that has a unique situation, you just gave them a hammer, screwdriver, Phillips head, drill, I'm out of tools, whatever. Right, so do them a favor, send them people, let's grow their toolbox, right? Because every time they have that said issue, who knows? I mean, like, okay, great, I know how to I know how to handle this now, okay? So yeah, we're great to have y'all. We're great to have you.
Keep us in
We're
mind.
excited
Yeah.
to have y'all back, get going again, and that's what I have. So, okay.
So 2 things before we release for lunch. I was super excited to hear Dr. Larry Hart talk about transportation. I had no idea that was going on, so I will absolutely get more information on that so we can share that with our students. And then I think Dr. Kunis made such a valid point when she talked about her son and equated it to somebody, well, at least I know who he is, how you have an individual who could possibly be at home for the rest of his life if he doesn't get an education, right? Or have to get married, or in order to live on 2 incomes, something, but we don't have, if you're not educated, and I've been doing some training with Dr. Donna Beagle. She's a poverty coach. She teaches about poverty competencies. And one of the things that I always look back at, even in my own career, I grew up in poverty. There is no way in the world that I can be in the position that I am in today had I not educated myself. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I just know that I finally went to college. I believed in myself and I went to college, and things just progressed over time. But I do know for a fact that I wouldn't be a director had I not had the credentials to be a director. So I just fully believe that is a purpose as an educator. We are more than just to educate our students inside the classroom. We are barrier removers, just like the career navigators. We are here to inspire our students to want more. We are here to refine who they are as individuals and to think bigger than what they've ever thought that they could think. So I just look at things a lot differently, especially since I went through poverty coaching. But listening to Dr. Kunis and just that one little scenario made me say, yeah, this is really what this is about. It's huge to say to our young people, you have to get educated if you want to be able to be a productive citizen on your own and not have to rely on other people to assist you. You have to become educated. And whatever that road that is, if that's a continuing education course, if that's a level 1 certification or a level 2 certification, sometimes that's just enough. You don't have to do a 2-year degree. So the biggest thing is that I hope that we sell to our students, that we present them with this opportunity, and the thing that Dr. Kunis said is that we're authentic about it when we present it to our students. And not that we're shaking things up and now, oh my gosh, my job is changing, but that I want students to be able to have a living wage. In my heart, I want students to be able to survive. I want to change a student's life. I don't want to just teach them how to read. I want to teach them so that they can actually go and fish. You know what I'm saying? So I'll quit preaching.